does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to check out Rick and Morty, Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun, game of dice and dares from Cryptozoic. This is for 2 to 6 players, ages 18 plus. Yes, an adult game. It'll take, I don't know, about 20 to 30 minutes to play. And Rick and Morty's Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun is about the popular Adult Swim TV show Rick and Morty, based on a particular episode, I guess, where they have these little Mr. Meeseeks guy who try to complete various different tasks for them and hopefully not kill them. This is a very simple dice game crossed with truth or dare, crossed with a whole bunch of adult humor. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to try and keep this as PG-13 as I can, but I can't guarantee anything, and I'll tell you what I think about it. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what's inside of Rick and Morty, Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun, game of dice and dares. So first and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule booklet. It's 8 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. Very well done, should have you up and running in no time at all. Big thumbs up on the rule booklet. Also on the back page, they have a turn sequence, a handy dandy little turn sequence, which I always love when game companies do that. It's a pretty simple game. I can teach you how to play right now. So in the game, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be racing to X amount of points, depending on how many players you have. You're going to get the points by completing various different requests. You always have one request in front of you on your turn. I want to be more famous. I want to be a more complete woman. Teach me the art of self-pleasure, so on and so forth. And these requests are going to give you the number of points listed in the top right-hand corner. You're going to be able to complete the request by getting the matching dice when you roll the dice on your turn. You're only going to get to roll 5 dice, though, which can make some of these very difficult. Luckily, though, you're going to be able to draw Mr. Meeseeks cards on your turn. And these are going to help you out by doing things like you may re-roll any number of 3s, roll an extra die, you may re-roll any 1 die, then draw another Meeseeks, so on and so forth. But the thing is, these things can turn around and try and kill you, and I'll tell you how that works in a little bit. So if you complete the request, you get the points, and your turn is over. However, if you don't do the request, you're going to get a dare card, and we'll talk more about those later. But needless to say, now you got a brief idea of how it's played. Let's show you how everything works. So when you start off the game, each player is going to get 5 little health tokens right here, because you can get killed in this game by the Meeseeks. Also, however many players there are in the game, you're going to take 4 dice for each player and put it into this pool in the middle. So right now we have 12 dice, so we have a 3-player game set up. If you do not have a request card in front of you on your turn, you're going to draw a request card, read it out loud, I want to be famous, and then you're going to roll 5 dice. So you're always going to have 5 dice active. So for instance, if I had this 6 right here from the last round, I would only get to roll 4 dice. But you're always going to have 5 active dice, unless a Mr. Meeseeks card changes that. So you take the 5 dice, roll them up, and let's see what we got. This was a very poor roll. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got nothing that is going to help us. So what do we do next? We draw a Mr. Meeseeks card, and hopefully it helps us. Reroll any number of dice. If you don't complete your request, your Meeseeks turn on each other, kill one of your Mr. Meeseeks card. So that's unfortunate. So this guy's actually going to kill himself, but we get to reroll all of our dice. And look at there. We got one of the 6s we need. So this guy kills himself, unfortunately. He goes into the discard pile. All the dice go back up here. And then, since we did not complete this request, we're going to draw a dare card. Now, before we do that, though, there is one thing that I want to mention, which is not only is this the number of victory points the card will earn you, but it's also the number of Mr. Meeseeks cards you can have in front of you before they turn on you. So, for instance, let's just say I did not complete my request, and I have 4 cards in front of me. If that were the case, then all these Mr. Meeseeks turn on me and they try and kill me. At which point, before I draw a dare card, I would roll 4 dice, and any 6s mean they're going to hurt me, so I would lose 1 of my health. So you can be eliminated in the game. It's very difficult to do, though. But anywho, back to that. We haven't completed our request, so we would draw a dare card. And these are really where the humor in the game comes across. So this is what a dare card is going to look like. It's always going to have a 1 in the upper right-hand corner, because if you complete the dare, then you're going to gain 1 point. So every single turn, you are either going to complete a request or having a chance to complete a dare. So you will always be moving forward point-wise if you complete the dares at least. So pitch your own movie idea about 2 brothers for 30 seconds. If you stop talking for more than 1 second during that time, you fail this dare. Go. So that one's PG. Gee, not too bad. For 30 seconds, describe how you would fit a mega tree fruit seed way up your butthole. Not quite as appropriate. For 30 seconds, tell another player what your lives are like in an alternate reality where he or she is your spouse. That could be awkward, but fun. For 30 seconds, describe the rides and attractions that would be in your own anatomy park. List 8 different nicknames for farts farting in 30 seconds. Draw a Cronenberg version of another player within 30 seconds. The other players must accurately guess who you have Cronenberg. One other player may ask you a personal question and you must answer honestly. So all sorts of different dares going on in the game, which is why this 30-second sand timer is included. If you complete the dare, you put it down in front of you and you've gained 1 point. And then we'll do one more round to show you how it works. So let's just say it gets back to me. I have this card I have this card in front of me. Yeah. And since I have 1 card allocated my die, I would roll 4 dice out of the center, since you're always going to have 5 dice active. Roll it up. Still not a very useful hand. I draw another Mr. Meeseeks card. So now I have 2. And now, in whatever order I choose, I can use both of these abilities. So you may reroll any number of 1s, not going to help me, but provides you with a 3. Also not going to help me. So this one would really suck. I would check to see if my Meeseeks turn on me. They would not, since I only have 2 in front of me. I would draw another dare, and I would rinse, wash, and repeat. For 30 seconds, scratch your crotch and ass through your pants, you sicko. But anywho, you're going to race to X amount of points. Now, one thing I do want to mention is the box. The box it's handy. It has a space for everything. But the real star of the show that I think a lot of people are going to like, especially if they're fans of the show, is the fact that there is...
Mr. Meeseeks, look at me!
There's a button on top.
Oh, I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me! I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me!
He doesn't just say that. He says other things as well.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me! Can do! I'm Mr. Meeseeks!
Okay.
Is he keeping his shoulders squared?
So, needless to say, that is Rick and Morty's Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun. Alrighty then, Rick and Morty, Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun, game of dice and dares. Wow, it's a long name. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game has adult humor. This is not one of those games that you can kind of PG it down by taking out cards. Just throughout the game, there's just tons of humor. And I don't really feel like you would want to play this without the adult humor. So if you're looking at this and saying like, maybe I can play with my kids, no, not the case. Unless they can handle that kind of humor. But honestly, I would not recommend it. A lot of sexual humor, especially in the dare cards. Another con that I think a lot of people are going to have with this is that it's a very simple dice game. It really is. The core mechanisms, the core gameplay is the dice play. And it's really, there's nothing you can do. There's very little choices that you're going to make strategically to try and win the game. It's just, hey, I rolled what I wanted, or I didn't roll what I want. And if you roll better than somebody else, you're probably going to win the game. Some people are going to be turned off by that. Another comment I had with the game is that some of the cards are the kind of thing where if you don't know or appreciate Rick and Morty, if you've never seen Rick and Morty, you're just not going to get the humor. And when we came to those cards, since I've never seen the TV show, I was just like, just draw a new card. But I will say for the people who had watched the TV show, they actually really enjoyed the humor. Those cards are few and far between, though. I wouldn't say that it's a majority or half or anything like that. The majority of the cards are stuff that you can just appreciate regardless of whether or not you've seen the show, which is a good thing. Also, there are some dare cards in there, which is really where the humor in the game comes from for the most part, that once you've heard them the first time, they're not going to be nearly as funny. They have like kind of that Cards Against Humanity syndrome where it's like, oh yeah, I remember that's super funny the first time, and the second time it's like, okay, it's kind of funny. And then from that point on, it's just you laugh at other people's reaction to the question, but you already know what's coming up, so it's not as funny. But those are also few and far between, so it's not a big deal. Last but not least, the box is way too large, but I'm going to give them a pass on this. Clearly, they were trying to go for the aesthetic appeal with this one, hence this. So obviously, I'm going to give them a pass on that. Another thing is, it's got the little thing, and you're quickly going to stop touching the button because really it doesn't add too much to the game, but that is also coming from a non-Rick and Morty fan. I've never seen it. Any other cons I have with the game? No, I can't really think of anything. So I read through the rules, I read about the dice play, I read some of the cards, and I saw some of the cards that were like Rick and Morty, and I didn't understand them at all, and I'll be brutally honest with you. I thought this game was going to be falling flat. I thought this game was going to be a dud. I was like, okay, there's not really much game here. It's all pretty much just luck-based. But it didn't matter to me. I had a blast with Rick and Morty's Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun. And surprisingly, everyone I played with really enjoyed it as well. But you have to have an adult group who knows each other pretty well, I think. I feel like that's very important. Oh, that's one more con I have with this game. If you're a little bit of an introvert, if you do not like the spotlight, do not like everybody watching you, this game is definitely not going to be for you, I don't think, because of the dare cards. But, moving on to the pros, the dare cards are fantastic, and they make this game. I have not legitimately laughed at a game this hard in quite some time, and honestly, it was really weird for me, because the game is all about rolling dice and trying to complete the request and getting the Meeseeks and laughing at people when they take damage and stuff like that. But the real heart of the game is in the dare cards. And it got to the point that I didn't want to complete request cards because I was having so much fun doing the dares. And that's really where this game shines, is the dares. And while, yes, there are some of them that are kind of forced humor. I forgot to mention this in the cons. They're like the Quelf ones where like roll around on the floor like a snake and bark like a dog and stuff like that, where it's just kind of forcing the humor. But the 30 seconds and you have to talk about various different things really can be quite hilarious. And we had a lot of fun with those dare cards. Like I said, to the point that people after the game were just reading off dare cards and doing the dare cards. They like them so much. And that's another thing I really enjoyed about the game. And this is a problem that some party games have, is that there's no forward progression sometimes. You know, take like a trivia game. If you don't get the question right, then you don't gain points. On this one, each and every turn, you have a chance to gain points. Either you complete a request or you do a dare. So you are always going to have the chance to continue to move forward, which I liked a lot. I really enjoyed that a lot. Component-wise, components were nice. The box looks really cool. Cards are perfectly serviceable. Dice are nice. The box insert's good. Rule booklet's well done. And I think if you are a fan of Rick and Morty, this is a no-brainer. Pick this one up 100%. If you like adult humor and adult party games, I think this is one that you're really going to enjoy. Is it a game night game? I don't know. I tried it once with my game night. We played it 5 players, and people had a lot of fun with it. We did, but is it something I think we would want to revisit? Probably not, because when you go to a game night, you're just thinking more serious games, and this is just so luck-based. But still, Rick and Morty's Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun is a game that I'm going to keep on my shelf for certain situations, and but if you have a lot of parties, if you have a lot of get-togethers with non-gamers, I think they're going to have a blast with this. I really think the Cards Against Humanity crowd, they're just going to eat this up. But Rick and Morty's Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun, one I can definitely recommend. A lot of adult humor, a lot of fun, and one that you should check out. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, what is your favorite Adult Swim show of all time? For me personally, it's definitely got to be Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I love that show. I was one of the few people, I think, who went out and saw the movie, actually. I think there was like 12 of us. Love the show. I still have it on DVD. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but I do want to revisit that. But let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite Adult Swim show? And as always, hey, that rhymed. Thanks for your time, YouTube.